So let's make a quick point about what the youth are doing these days, which I already mentioned a couple of times. We talked about intrinsic and extrinsic values, why people stand up for relations, friends, forests, environment, schools, whatever common causes, shared concerns, and so on. This is, of course, Greta Thunberg, who is now a rock star, young and old alike, took to the streets in an estimated 185 countries to demand action. So this is, again, as I said in the previous podcast, there are all sorts of criticisms, and not everybody is a big fan of what Greta Thunberg says. I won't say my own personal opinion here, but obviously in the end, decisions that came out of COP26, for example, show that practical decisions, political concerns, and so on make a big difference on what actually gets negotiated into action. For example, Biden passed a big climate action budget, and then he signed off on a lot of new drilling projects as well, because he cannot afford to look away from energy security issues while we're still ramping up the renewables and so on. Okay, so the other big issue I will point to here is the air conditioning versus heat pumps. UK is subsidizing and encouraging heat pumps, and the numbers are growing. Why is that? If you look at air conditioning, number of households, obviously Japan doesn't need as many except in, let's say, Tokyo or so, but you can see Saudi Arabia, which is rich and also very hot, has a massive amount of air conditioners compared to the population, and you have other Middle Eastern countries like UAE. USA has a large range of weather, and you can expect the hot southwest, southeast are going to use a lot of ACs as well. And of course there's a close relation between per capita GDP and number of air conditioners per family, per household, and so on. So here is ownership percentage of households over various countries. These are the cooling degree days, which is a measure of how hot it is and how often you need the air conditioner to even survive. So as the cooling degree days go up, the ownership of ACs tends to go up almost everywhere, even though by different amounts, because you can see the ownership of households, of percentage of households can depend very strongly on weather, but also on per capita GDP. This is a concern, of course, because both India and China are expected to experience more and more heat waves, and both are growing economies. So with increased income, growing middle class, the number of air conditioners is expected to go up quite rapidly in these countries. And you can see one neighborhood here in India, which is showing all the air conditioning units, and this is not even a rich neighborhood, so you can imagine how the rich neighborhoods would look like. The tall high-rises in Mumbai, you can see window units all over the place, not surprisingly. So what can you do? Of course, air conditioner is a very easy adaptation to warming climate, right? But we know that air conditioners consume a lot of energy, and right now they are using HFCs, which are very high in their global warming potential, and some of them also have a very long residence time in the atmosphere. So HFCs are going to be replaced under the Kigali Amendment, and many countries are already on their way to doing that, but poorer countries like China and India are given extra time to make that adjustment, and so on and so forth. So what are heat pumps, and why is the UK government pushing them? Heat pump use could help the UK meet its climate targets, but there are concerns over high installation and running costs. So the companies that sell them give you numbers on them. So I'm just going to run through some numbers from one of the companies that you will see at the end of this podcast. So comparing heat pumps versus air conditioning units, you know intuitively that air conditioning is only good for cooling, and then you have often additional heating furnaces or other systems in cold places in the mid latitudes and higher latitudes. So heat pumps can do both. That's the first thing to note. They can cool and they can also warm. So the battle of cooling here, it's record-breaking heat, and you're sticking to the leather couch losing sleep, and Fluffy's new home is in front of the fan. So Fluffy is your cat or dog, let's say. Enough is enough, and you deserve to have comfortable air-conditioned home. This is a company selling things, convincing you that you can do it economically. Before making the move to AC, let's learn whether a heat pump air conditioner is right for you. What it does, heat pump versus air conditioner. So heat pump cools and heats the home. Air conditioner only cools. How it works, so in the winter it can heat, and heat pump or air conditioner obviously will work in the summer, hot air return. So here you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the heat pump, the system pulls cold air from the home. The outdoor unit absorbs heat from cold air outside into the refrigerant. Refrigerant becomes warm and is sent back into the house. Warmth is released back into your home. So this is during the winter time. During the summertime, a heat pump system pulls hot air from the home. Outdoor unit squeezes heat out of the refrigerant. Refrigerant becomes cold and is sent back into your house. Coolness is released back into your home. So heat pumps heating capabilities decline when outside temperature is less than 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees centigrade. You'll need an electric air handler or furnace to blow air and provide a backup heat source for these kind of eventualities. Longevity wise, heat pump runs year round in all seasons. AC units only run seasonally, whereas in a place like India, the seasonality of AC unit can be all year long if you are rich, but most people cannot afford to run the AC all the time. So if it is turned off, it's because of financial concerns, but obviously if you're rich, you don't care. Place like Mumbai, unless you are living in a high rise with good airflow, if you're in the lower level, you are going to be hot almost all the year, so you may run the AC all the year. So heat pumps work very well for mid-latitudes and colder climates which have hot seasons. Heat pumps last 12 to 15 years on average, lasts less than an AC because it's running most of the year to heat and cool your home. AC units last a bit longer, 15 to 20 years on average. AC lasts longer than heat pumps because they get used less in the Northwest. So we are talking about the US. Annual tune-ups extend the life of the equipment and keep it running efficiently. So the company will tell you that you can keep the heat pump running longer if you are able to spend the money for tune-ups and so on. So I don't know why I repeated. Oops, am I going in the wrong direction? Okay, cost-wise, depending on the efficiency level, a heat pump with installation costs runs from $5,000 to $9,000. Maintenance costs, manufacturer recommends annual tune-ups for split systems of $269, so indoor-outdoor. To cool the home, heat pumps and air conditioners cost the same to operate. Depending on the efficiency level, air conditioner with installation costs is between $4,000 to $8,000. Maintenance costs, manufacturer recommended annual tune-ups for split systems is $269 here. Okay, so heating fuel cost comparison. Type of heating system could be oil, electric, propane, electric baseboard, electric oil furnace, electric furnace, gas furnace, heat pump. So the amount used in gallons is 480 oil for oil, 14,650 kilowatt hours for an electric furnace, which is expensive. Propane furnace is 725 gallons, so depends on which is cheaper and which is easier to store and feed to the furnace. Electric baseboard heater can take 11,730 kilowatt hours. Gas turbine 667 thermal units, therms. Heat pump 5,888 kilowatt hours. So obviously you have to be very careful what exactly is being compared. Cost to operate 40 million British thermal units. So here you have oil furnace, $1939. So mixing British thermal units with American dollars, but nonetheless. Propane, 1356, electric baseboard 1102, so you can see the price difference there, even though kilowatt hours are here. So you obviously are also playing for the energy. And gas furnace 834, heat pump only $554 for heating cost. Okay, so this is from the Washington Energy Services. The source here is from US Department of Energy, central air conditioning, air source heat pump, and so on. So Snohomish PUD Public Utility District Number 1 home heating fuel cost comparisons are used here. So it does have some research behind it from government energy agencies. So you can surely compare the technologies, and heat pump works much better for climates where substantial heating is needed during part of the year. For a country like India, most of the country cannot use this very well, but in the north, if you go far enough north, it will be much better to use heat pumps than air conditioners for sure. Okay.